Are there any model cities that are sort of doing this right from a regulatory standpoint, from a building standpoint, from a community neighborhood standpoint? And then part two is sort of what role does government have to play in sort of facilitating and improving either home building, home ownership, and all of these components? So we'll start with
Mark.
Mark, yeah.
Well, look, cities were startups at one point, right? Like, so every city was a startup, and there's like incredible stories if you go back far enough, like creation of cities like Los Angeles or Washington D.C., for that matter. In the 20th century, that kind of went, at least in the West, that kind of went out of fashion, became sort of an intractable thing to try to do. There were some entrepreneurs who thought hard about it and gave shots at it. So Walt Disney, right, had a whole, Walt Disney had a whole vision. And what, the Disney company to this day has these, planned communities that kind of come from that. Walt Disney actually had this vision he actually had this thing called Epcot, the experimental prototype city of tomorrow.
You can see it in the museum in San Francisco. If you go to the museum, you can see it.
Oh, is that right? Okay, yeah.
The whole thing.
Well, I think they still have the Epcot. The part of Epcot that got built, I think, is still in Florida. So you can go visit. I think the remnants of Epcot. So, this is like a sort of futurism from the '60s. Kind of in Disney's mind. He wasn't able to get. He passed away. And he wasn't able to fully develop Epcot, but he was kind of reaching in this direction towards the end of his career. And then there are other examples in the U.S. It's probably Irvine. Took a big swing at this and actually has been very successful. And then Venice, Abbott Kinney, created the in LA created the Venice Canal as sort of a planned community. So there are various ideas like this. It's been a long time since somebody's really taken a hard swing